Okay, we're going to talk about how to add custom fields when it comes to CX. Now, of course, if you already have custom fields set up, when you go through the initial sync, it will read them. But if you needed to add new custom fields, we have to do it in this kind of particular order. So the first thing that we would be doing is inside of QuickBooks, right, because this is something that we would expect would be generated from somebody who's got the permissions to add custom fields. We would go into the additional information tab and we would click on define fields. We're going to go ahead and add the custom field in here. So let's pretend we want to track revenue size of our customers, right? So revenue size, revenues. All right, so I say we're going to track this on customers. Of course, I could add it to vendors, employees, etc. And because, as with most custom fields, we always recommend using a multiple choice list, I'm going to go ahead and add the multiple choices in here, right? So it'll be under 1 million, 1 to 5 million, 5 over 5 million. Let's just say for choices. Now, the multiple choice list is not something that's available through the API. So this is why we have to see how we have to add this when we go into CX. So I'm going to go ahead and say OK and OK. And now that transaction shows up in here. Now, we have to go ahead and run the sync, which of course the sync is running, but I'm just going to force it. So we'll run through the sync real quick. And then once we do that, when I come over into my CX file. Now, if I have the Customer Center open already, you do have to hit refresh, right, for it to load anything that's syncing. So right now it's still saying posting database objects because it's a pretty big change. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit refresh. And now it's there. So if I go in now to my Bastrop Bookshop, as an example, under additional information, I now have my revenues. So you can see there's no drop down, right? Because as I mentioned before, the multiple choice lists do not carry forward. And so what I do is I just copied from the QuickBooks list, and then I can edit my list here, paste it in, say OK, and now I have the drop down so that I can save it. Okay, so that's how you add custom fields. There is one other place that you can put in custom field information drop-down is when you're on the actual transaction. This is a little bit different, right, than when you are inside of QuickBooks because you don't have the ability to edit from here. But as you can see, the revenues is already added to my invoice screen. In my templates here into the screen, I could choose to remove it, as you've seen before with managing layout. The drop-down's already there of what I put in, but I do have the option to edit the list from here as well. So that's not something that's QuickBooks native. In QuickBooks, you do have to edit the list drop-down from the customer tab only, or from editing a customer only. You have the ability to do that without having to dive in deep there inside of CX. So hopefully that is beneficial. The one thing to keep in mind, though, is if you do edit this list, you will have to go down and edit the list in QuickBooks as well to keep the two consistent. But it's pretty simple. That is how you add custom fields inside of Fourlane CX.